Hey guys, Ben here and welcome back to another video on Superman Lois Season 3. Today we're going to be doing a theory video about the upcoming season. So if you do go on to enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment. It really helps out the channel. Also subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos later this year. Okay, so I have to give a shout out to Tom, one of our channel members. He came up with this theory in our latest members live stream. I will leave the link to his Twitch in the description below because that is where he is active. And so I'm going to do my best to give my interpretation of his theory, which I think could actually turn out to be true. That's why I'm making a video on it. And I think you guys are going to be very interested. But if you want to join in and discuss theories with me live on our members live streams that we do pretty much once every week or every 2 weeks, click the join button down below and become a super friend. There is a new tier of memberships that has just been released as of today. That is a super legendary friend. You can become an automatic moderator on live streams, plus also join me on live streams with your fellow members when we next do it. So if you join today, you can join us in the next members live stream. So for now, let's go ahead and jump into today's main topic. So Lex Luthor is on his way. It was just announced as of recently that Lex Luthor is coming to Superman Lois. However, it isn't Jon Cryer coming to Superman Lois. It's in fact a new version of the character who is being played by Michael Cudlitz, who you may know from The Walking Dead. He is going to be playing a new dark and vicious version of Lex Luthor. Apparently this Lex has been hiding away for a long time. It's been years since he was last seen, and that's why we haven't really had much mention of him in Superman Lois as of recently. Obviously in the original continuity before Crisis, Tyler Hoechlin's Superman, his Lex Luthor was Jon Cryer's Lex Luthor, but in this new continuity where Superman Lois isn't technically a part of Earth Prime, it's on another Earth, he's got a new Lex Luthor, and that is being played by Michael Cudlitz. And as I said, he's been described as a much darker, as a much more vicious version of Lex. He's been planning his return for a long time, and he is coming back with a vengeance. He's going after Superman and Lois because of what they've done to him, and also he's known to the criminals of Metropolis and the criminals of the world as a brutal psychopath who terrorizes anyone he crosses paths with. That is from the official description of his character when he was cast just recently. So that's the context you need to know in terms of Lex Luthor. Now, the big question that comes about that leads into our main theory here is, why has he been underground and away for so long? What could be the reason? There is going to be a reason that's going to be like when Lex and Superman see each other for the first time. Maybe Superman's going to be like, where have you been all this time? And Lex is going to reply and he's going to give his answer. Now I'm theorizing about his answer, about why he's been away for so long, and I feel like Tom's theory is perfect and it fits in here. So as you know, Lex is just a normal human. He's not a super powered being, but obviously his intellect is his weapon. That's the only way that he can stand up against Superman. So he's not much of a physical match to Superman because Superman is from Krypton, he's got superpowers, and yes, Superman is smart to an extent, but he's not as smart as Lex Luthor. And so Lex has been away for a while, so you can imagine what's been going on in his mind, and he's definitely been plotting. And so I feel like with him being away for all this time, he's gonna have found a way to match Superman's strength to actually fight him the next time he comes back, because as the description says, he's going after Superman and Lois. He wants to enact revenge on the two people that he feels have wronged him. And so in what way is he going to be able to actually hit back at Superman? Well, he's not going to be able to hit back just in his Lexo suit. We've seen that before. His Lexo suit is only powerful to a certain extent, and he's vulnerable because he's the one actually fighting. But what happens if he was able to find a way so that he wouldn't be hurt because he's smart enough to think that way? What happens if he gets someone else to go after Superman and enact his revenge? And so this is where the Superboy clone theory comes in. So the idea is that maybe whilst he's been away, he's utilized Superman's DNA from the last time that they met and utilized his DNA, and he's created a Superboy clone, and that would be Connor Kent. Now, a lot of you guys know Connor Kent in the comics. That is exactly his origin. He is a creation of Lex Luthor, but he has some of Superman's DNA. Also, if you watch Young Justice, this is literally what happens, and that's how Superboy comes into existence. And so with that, Lex could use Superboy to match Superman's strength because he has his DNA, the Kryptonian DNA, and he is fully under the control of Lex. So he's his own Superman pretty much. And so this is the best way for Lex to match Superman in terms of like his power, and he can be completely vicious because again, Lex has been brainwashing him since his creation. So there is pretty much no limit to what he is able to do with him unless Superman is able to get through to him, because obviously there is some sort of humanity to Superboy as evidenced by him in the comics and as evidenced by him in Young Justice. He eventually turns to the good side, but at first he's obviously going to be working for Lex. And so I feel like this is a very good theory about why Lex has been away for so long, and a way that he could actually bounce back and actually make some damage in terms of attacking Superman and Lois. But also we have to talk about the fact that we have a Superboy at the moment, that being Jordan Kent. However, it must be noted that he hasn't been called Superboy as of now, so that name is definitely up in the air and up for grabs. So totally Connor Kent could claim that Superboy name first. And yes, Jordan Kent does have powers and he's been training, so he's becoming better and he is leading down that path to becoming a protege to Superman, who would normally be called Superboy, but perhaps he will take another superhero name if Connor Kent does actually come to Superman Lois, say in season 3 with the return of Lex Luthor. And so maybe he gets another superhero name at some point. I don't know what it would be, Super Lad or something like that. I'm sure they will find a better way of actually naming him. But either way, if Connor Kent does show up, there's clearly going to be a showdown between the two different versions of Superboy. I guess we kind of got that last season a bit with the Bizarro version of Jonathan Kent. He was kind of like an evil Superboy. But in this case, it would be Connor Kent, who is a Superboy clone, maybe a creation of Cadmus, since Lex obviously is somewhat involved in that, and that's where he comes from originally in the comics. In Supergirl, there was actually Cadmus already, so they did kind of dabble into that, but Superman Lois is not really paying much attention to continuity in terms of the Arrowverse, so they could totally set up their own new version of Cadmus. And so in the comics, as I mentioned, Superboy is a duplicate and a very close genetic equivalent of Superman, so he pretty much can go toe to toe with Superman, but obviously he has his limitations. And in terms of the reasoning why he has Lex Luthor's DNA, it's because, well, if we look specifically at Young Justice, Lex Luthor's human DNA is basically bridging the missing sequences in the Kryptonian DNA to kind of stabilize his body and allow him to basically have his full powers, so he's not like some sort of like half human, half Kryptonian who has like half of the powers. So I guess it would be a similar thing to what is going on right now with Jordan Kent in terms of him having powers. He's technically half Kryptonian, half human, so that's already an example. And perhaps Lex, whilst he's been underground, has been studying the rise of Superboy. He knows there's a connection between Superman and Lois, so maybe he's figured out what's been going on with this new Kryptonian that has surfaced. And so potentially by studying him, he's been able to figure out, yes, it will work if we combine both Kryptonian and human DNA in order to get a person that is able to fully use Kryptonian powers without being like fully Kryptonian. So if that makes any sense, let me know down in the comments below. Do you think this is actually going to happen? I feel like there is a strong case for it, and that's why I'm bringing it up in this video, because I feel like there has to be some sort of explanation as to why Lex hasn't surfaced after such a long time. And like Tom said in our live stream, I really feel like he's had such a long time. He's had years to work on something to try and enact his revenge against Superman and Lois. What better way to do that than creating something and someone just like Superman who can go toe to toe with Superman and actually fight him, rather than putting himself in danger. Like, Lex is way too smart to just like put himself in a Lexo suit and try and physically fight Superman. I think I would be personally actually a little bit disappointed if they actually went the Lexo suit route. Obviously there's a possibility that they just go simple and that's the way they go. However, I think this is a more creative route for them to go in terms of getting Lex to actually fight Superman and bring them onto a level playing field. Of course, there are many other options out there, and if you've read comic books, you know Lex has done many different things to get back at Superman. Even just look at Crisis, like the John Cryer version of Lex. he used the Book of Destiny and he became a core member of what they were doing in order to make himself survive. So I feel like there is definitely a strong case to make for maybe a Connor Kent coming into the show. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen straight away when Lex premieres later this season, when we get to start seeing him in episodes. He might actually be saving that for later. Like, that could happen in a next season or towards the end of the season if he wants to actually go properly toe to toe and try and finally defeat Superman. So I guess we'll just really have to wait and see as to what their plans are with this version of Lex Luthor, who is described as being more vicious and more dark, and that's why I'm thinking this is actually a good theory, because this would be a good way to actually beat down Superman. So that pretty much does it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like and a comment. It actually really helps out the channel. It tells YouTube that you are enjoying watching these videos, so I would appreciate if you did leave a like and any sort of comment, whether you got a theory, a response to this video, or anything. Also, please be sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed already, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any future videos. We are uploading daily right now, and as always, I want to remind you, The Flash is going to be premiering in 5 days time. Currently, I'm recording this video on the 3rd of February. It's coming out on the 8th of February, so that's next Wednesday at 8/7 Central on the CW. We're going to have a review video out right after the episode airs, so stick around for all of the new Arrowverse content that we're going to be making, plus Superman Lois returns in March, so we don't have very long as of right now. But for now, you can click on the top right corner of the screen to watch my latest video, and so I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.
I see red.